Dune Awakening, the impressive survival game, has already been out for a few weeks now, and there's just so much to cover. We've created a list of must-know things that you need to know about before starting this game and what will make it a lot more fun. It's important to note that it is a survival game, so in the very beginning, you're gonna have to worry a little bit more about resources and staying hydrated, but very quickly, once you learn a few systems, this game gets incredibly addictive. While playing, you get to feel like you're reenacting those epic movie scenes, surviving the desert, and maybe even one day riding a sandworm. It's also important to note that this game also has MMO elements, so you'll be able to see other players on the map too, and there's different combat mechanics. Oh, and one important thing to note from the very beginning, if you die in a sandstorm or from a sandworm, you lose absolutely everything, so you have to be so careful. Then, dying from enemies is just gonna make you lose your gold and whatever you have in your backpack, so no big deal. Now, one popular question we're getting with this one is, does it actually feel like you're in the movie or the books? And the answer is two-parted. While yes, it does, but it does take a bit of time to get fully into it because you need to build out your character in an easier way to survive, but it also goes a different way from the story from the books, which is great because then the developers have their own agency to create an interesting story and not simply have to follow the book for who dies when and stuff like that, and we'll get more into the lore as the video goes. For this one, we'd say you need about 80 hours to get involved, but you can even go deeper if you want to spend a lot of time in that PvP and diving through the full endgame.
Do you even surge, bro?
So what can you expect from this game? In the beginning, it's all about gathering those initial resources and some combat for some pocket money. Then head back to unlock new equipment, and the further you go, the more things you'll have to worry about, not only getting water from shrubs, but also having to drain fluids from the bodies you take down. Then after a bit of this, things start scaling more quickly. You start clearing out enemy camps, gathering more resources and schematics for better equipment. You unlock your hydration suit, then after the arduous task of having to cross the desert by sand, it's such a relief when you unlock that sand bike to cover the deck so much faster, and there's also hover tech to get around. Plus, given this immersive world, you also need to scale mountains and shoot off survey probes to reveal the map around you. What's great about this game is as you progress, you can actually see and feel all the improvements you've made to your character. You've gone from being scared of everything and almost running out of water all the time to then becoming a desert master. They've done a really great job with their progression system here. So while it is long, it feels incredibly rewarding because you've done what it takes to get to that level. Another great thing about the game, for those that prefer playing with a controller, the game has been optimized for that. The combat does get better as you progress as well. You get new weapons, equipment, and abilities while enemies get harder, and all of that makes the combat scenarios a lot more fun. And you may have already heard the combat isn't as good as what you'd expect to see in an RPG, but this game isn't that. It's a survival game first, and they've done a great job at that. Then, speaking of the story, they've done such a fantastic job using the Dune universe, but pivoting the story away from the traditional Lisan al-Gaib narrative, which allows them the creative freedom to not follow that exact narrative, but instead gives you the opportunity to explore this expansive world and give you autonomy in what happens to you as the main character. In the world, they have areas like the Haga Basin, Arrakeen, Harko Village, and the Deep Desert, which you must explore later on. There's just so much to do and explore in this game. Plus, you can also learn character traits in new zones to make you a more formidable player. There's also an in-game marketplace allowing you to buy and sell items from other players, and as you get further into the game, some rare materials are only available in PvP areas, so crafting and getting that ornithopter feels like a huge accomplishment. Now, before we go a little bit deeper in the script, who is this game actually for? Well, I'll give you a hint. If you've made it this far, this game is for you. Sure, maybe if you've only got a little bit of time, or you absolutely love combat mechanics and you can't stand when things aren't perfect, maybe this game isn't for you, but if you've watched this far, you're probably interested in this style of survival game. This game is survival meets good storytelling. where Paul Atreides was never born and House Atreides does not collapse as a result. So the plot already has a great story that you know and love, but some unexpected twists come along where you should play and find them out for yourself. And as you'd expect, this one really stands out through its survival mechanics. Everything is highly polished and really well integrated. There's always something new to research, and while you're busy trying to gather the necessary items to craft one ability or gear item that you're already thinking about, because everything is so well designed, during that time you'll also be thinking of the next progression you want to do before you even finish the one you're on. They do a great job to make this feel like a lifelike progression. And the best part of this, they don't make it repetitive. There always seems to be a new way to acquire what you need. As for the pacing of crafting, it's actually done at a really good pace. However, where this can kind of fall apart or get a bit monotonous is at the end game when you're trying to compete in those PvP zones. Losing an ornithopter is almost guaranteed another 3 hours just to grind up the necessary resources to create a new one. Now, depending on your pace of play, it'll probably take you around 80 hours to complete most of the game and master the Haga Basin. But from there comes the end game. This is where it gets really time intensive. We've heard of players getting up to 200 hours playing here. But this isn't only progression gameplay, this is also from grinding to get more ornithopters, and of course, the Corrales storm that sweeps through each week, destroying everything in its path and creating an entirely new map to explore. At this point in the game, you really rely much more on guilds and powerful ships due to the intense PvP competition. But given the limited resources in the map, it can get quite tedious to get those rare materials. In terms of negatives, there's still some issues with graphic bugs, mountains disappearing, server disconnects, and the vast amount of time needed in the endgame. But overall, even if you're only a small fan of the Dune universe, you're gonna get wrapped into this story and absolutely love playing the survival game, so we definitely recommend it. And then where it differentiates for everybody is some of those players are gonna wanna spend 80 hours and be done with this game, and some are gonna go over that 200-hour mark. It just depends on the type of gamer you are. Now, if you do enjoy reviews or overviews like this, as well as learning about new games, definitely become part of the Funjible Games ecosystem. We have a full website platform where you can discover new games, also founder interviews and breaking news, so you can always find out what's happening in the world of gaming. And of course, subscribe to this YouTube channel where we have new videos coming out every week.